Welcome back. It's been a long time that I have been MIA. And I apologize for not being on YouTube and being present. Every year I'm like, oh, I'm gonna film my whole prep like front to finish. I'm gonna do like a whole show day vlog weekend. Show day ends up being so freaking hectic and busy that you just forget to kind of I guess you're on your phone, but you're kind of in a zone doing everything else, doing the whole 9 yards of getting ready, being present, trying to not be nervous, being grounded, and then all of a sudden the whole weekend's gone. You have your show, you eat your face off, and then you're like, shit, it's already Monday. So yeah, it's now why did I want to say October? My head's already in this pumpkin spice mentality, but we are now August, and I am I think 2 months and a bit, so 9 to 10 weeks. I think we're almost 10 weeks post show. So yeah, 10 weeks post nationals. Yeah, don't even ask me where the time has gone. But 10 weeks post nationals, and I'm finally back and ready to do an update video and just kind of let you guys know how I did this season. I don't really have a lot of footage, but I'm going to insert whatever footage I do have and kind of do a little story time of how my shows all went. Okay, so we'll start off with this bad boy. I'm holding my clip. My first trophy in bodybuilding that I've ever won. Yeah, I have not won a trophy yet, and was a first place at Alberta Open in my class, which there's only one girl in my class, so you know what? I'm gonna take the win as it is, but for me, I didn't call it I don't consider that a win because I was the only one in my division, but I do believe I brought a really good package to the stage that day, and I went into that show hoping I was going to win the overall, and I thought I had a great chance, and even show day I was like, damn, I got this. I went on that stage like I owned it. I will insert a posing video of my routine, but your girl nailed pose in that one. So I was super impressed with how I showed up. Looking back, I was definitely not conditioned. This whole season I wasn't conditioned enough. I needed to be probably another well, for nationals maybe another 3 pounds lighter probably, but I'm still really happy with how everything went. In the overall at Alberta Open, I ended up being there was 4 or 5 of us. There's 4 of us I think, and I was the center too. So I also thought I had it the whole time. And someone kind of made a comment to me backstage you got this, and I let it get to my head a little bit because I was oh fuck, I totally got this. And there's a video of me, which I'll post, when they called out the overall winner, and I was clearly shocked, and I'm embarrassed now thinking about it because looking back, I kind of acted like a big poor sport that day, obviously because I was bummed, and I personally just felt I had more of the wellness physique for that show than than the other person who won. She looked great, she was in really good condition, and that's where she got she won over me, is from behind. She was a lot more conditioned, where I wasn't, but I felt I had the true wellness looking physique. So yeah, that was just my first show back. Honestly, for being my first show back since 2021, I thought I didn't really have nerves. I thought I nailed it. My peak, and that was another thing that was a bit different because that was the first time Chris and I had worked together for a show, and there could have been things done a little bit differently. Going in, we really carved me up for that show, which if I wasn't exactly in condition, I don't think I really needed to be carved up for, because prior to that show, I was in Calgary 2 days before, and I looked really good. Maybe it was my Friday morning check-in. I don't know if it was my Thursday or Friday morning. I'll post a picture. I thought I looked great for this, but this was me depleted and not given any carbs. I was, that peak week, I was literally on chicken and asparagus. And I think I had steak, actually. I had steak that one, but chicken, asparagus, and steak that was my peak week meal plan. I think I was still having protein powder 2 days out, because like technically for me, I can have protein powder and I can have stevia. Peak week doesn't really affect me. My gut still looks fine, like my midsection still looks good, doesn't affect me, but I definitely feel like the carbs, maybe it was a nerves that I couldn't feel, but maybe it was a combination of like the carbs, and I took a diuretic because we knew I wasn't like tight enough. So like when did I take the diuretic? I think I took it between the shows, between the morning and the night show. So this was also my first time, I think, doing like a 2-stage format like that. I think, because every like the last shows last season, it was like, oh no, never mind, SAS Classic I feel like had this too. Anyways, just like the morning show, I like was like did not feel tight enough, so then Chris gave me a diuretic and then told me to eat McDonald's fries in between shows, which looking back, I probably wouldn't do that again, but like, we learned that just didn't work for me. I definitely feel like I looked better for the evening show, but like looking at photos from that show versus nationals, I definitely wasn't conditioned enough. And like I can say, like, I didn't, again, this prep near the end, I was just like so done. Like that was me dieting from January to almost June. Like when nationals rolled around, it was June, but like that was even January to May, and that was like a long prep season for me. And like I didn't really go like balls to the wall the whole prep. Like I think if you guys watched my videos before, like I've always been like a really lenient person with prep. I haven't really had to work super hard, and even in the end, like I think Chris was telling me to do like a certain amount of cardio, and I was doing like maybe like 3/4 of what he was asking me. So I need to be truthful with myself. And like even when it came to like my calories and stuff, like it was the same kind of thing. Like I always felt like my calories were like here, and I was eating just like that. So like say it was like, well, there were some weeks I was eating like 800 calories, but then I would say more realistically I was probably eating 1,000 calories. So it would be like a little bit like of a discrepancy of like a couple hundred calories. So I pushed a little bit in those weeks, but then I think even peak week I had a little fuck up before that peak week. What did I eat now? Oh, I had made these homemade peanut butter cups, and I remember eating one and I was like, fuck, this is worse. I don't think I even told like my coach about that. There was just like a lot of things, and then I questioned even after that, like, should I even be going on to nationals? But losing that overall really gave me like a kick in the ass to be like, okay, you're gonna go to nationals, you're gonna show up better. And I did put a lot of effort in those 2 weeks leading up, but it was like the same thing. Like, I should have probably been eating just like 100% to plan. And I went over, not with like bad food, but like sometimes I'd have a little bit more rice, and sometimes have a little bit more this, and there was a bit of like disagree. Oh yeah, and then back to my cardio, I probably could have been pushing it a lot harder with cardio, and I just felt like I didn't have time in the day with like work. And I shouldn't say that because like everyone will make time, but I was already getting up at like 4 to do my fasted, and then I would go home, like have my breakfast, get my boyfriend's breakfast and lunch ready, and then go back to the gym, train, and do some more cardio, then go to work. And then after work I was like a write off for the day. Sometimes I would still get walks in at night, like walk my dog, but near the end you're kind of like calorie deprived and whatnot, and I was just like, okay, I am done for the day. But like going into nationals, I definitely like ramped it up a little bit more. I just kept going, and I do feel like I showed up a lot better looking too. I did, like I was really picky, like critiquing this like leading up, and now looking back I was like, fuck, I looked good. Like every competitor, you have prep goggles, you have body dysmorphia, you think you don't look that great. But for me, all in all, it's just like I didn't have, I have like great glutes from the side, and from the front I have a wicked front. Like when I'm lean, like my stomach to or like waist to glute ratio is like awesome. Like I love my front pose, and I feel like in my off season my front pose is my weakest pose, and when I'm in season my front pose is one of my better poses, where in the off season I feel like my back pose, my rear pose looks, all year round, like doesn't look terrible. Like I can still see adductor lines, I can still see like the slightest bit of like hamstring line, quad separation, like from the side, not from the front. But, you know, I hold on like to, I guess, the way my fat is, but then in season, my rear shot is like my weakest. So again, I don't know this year if it was just like, maybe I wasn't pushing it enough with cardio or whatnot. And yeah, we weren't just quite lean enough. So, you know, next time around, if I prep, that will be like, I'm going to try to definitely stay ahead of the game. But yeah, so back to Toronto. You know, Toronto was definitely like a weekend that didn't really go as expected to. So we drove down from Fort Mac on the Thursday morning. You know, it was me like, okay, we're going to get up early. We're going to catch the flight early. And then, you know, get there at a great time. We had our hotels. Everything was all booked for the weekend. It was good. I had like my food in my bag. It was all planned. And we drove down to Fort Mac, driving to the airport. It's like 9 something. And I get a message that our flights are delayed. And I was like, fucking great. Like, what are we going to do? So we waited like another hour, and then our flight got canceled. So I was like, fuck. I like rushed into the counter and went to like the Air Canada counter and like pushed my way into like the Rouge line or whatever. And I'm like, we need to get on this flight tonight. And I have like my mom's dog with me, like her little dog. So I'm like, we need to get on this flight tonight. Like, I have a bodybuilding show. I was actually like really nice to the guy. And he was like, I have 2 flights left. So I was like, can we please have them? And then he's just like, you guys aren't going to sit together. So, which was totally fine. Like, at that point I was like, just get us to Toronto. But we had to waste a full fucking day in Edmonton with just like my Jeep. At least, like I said, I had food, but like it stressed me out because like I was pro tanning myself. So like, I was like, hey, like depending on what time we're supposed to leave, like I got to tan myself and all this. And then like, so throughout the day, like we went to West Ed, walked around. Again, I wasn't supposed to be getting like a crazy amount of steps because I was like 2 days out from my show. So we like went to West Ed. Then it like, we went back to the vehicle. It was like pouring rain. So we like napped in the vehicle a little bit, tried to stay off our feet. Then we went to see a movie. So we saw like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That wasted like a little bit of time. You know, tried to like literally waste as much time as we could. Funny story. While we were in, okay, don't hate on me for this, animal people, because it wasn't like a hot day that day. But I said I had my mom's dog. I cracked the windows. Wasn't a hot day. I think it was in the teens. We had my mom's dog. She just slept in her little kennel and in the back. And I thought she was zipped up in her kennel, but she wasn't. And she somehow busted out of her little kennel. She got into my food and she ate my fucking Ziploc bags of prepped food, like my chicken and rice. I am not kidding you. So like coming back, I was so mad because I was like, Charlie fucking ate my food. So not all of it, but like a couple bags. So yeah, that was like, a monkey wrench right there. Inconvenience. We were already like we had gotten 2 more messages that our flight was delayed again. So I was like, fuck, we're not gonna even get out of here in time. But I think our flight ended up leaving at like 9, but like we were so gross and like sweaty by that time, and I knew I had to get my tan on that night, and we weren't gonna get into Toronto until like 2 in the morning. So we went to the Flying J, paid like TJ paid I think like $20 each for us to shower in the Flying J gas station. This is how gross. Flying J gas station. So here we are, like he's having a shower, then I showered first. It was like a big kind of like handicap stall kind of thing, like with a bathroom. So like he showered, I showered, then was like tanning myself. He showered, he like stood on guard by the door kind of thing. It had a lock, but you never know. And then I think we had it for like a full hour. So I'm like, I took my time. I tanned myself in this fucking bathroom. Luckily I had like all my stuff for tanning, like my glove, my container, my pro tan. So yeah, I tanned like my whole body, dried off as much as I could, threw on a big oversized shirt and like my black sweatpants, and then like we literally had to board the flight. Like that was probably like 2.5, 3 hours before we were boarding our flight. So yeah, and then I like got on a plane with my first coat of tan on, stinking like pro tan. The people sitting next to me probably loved it because I had this like little dog in a carrier, and then I stunk like tan. But we made it. We got to Toronto, like, and it was like 2 in the morning. The time we got our bags, because I had to check my bags because it had like everything in my bags. Luckily, we had no issues with bags. Didn't lose anything, and for backup sake, I had my shoes in my backpack. So, that was good. We got to Toronto. what else happened in Toronto? I feel like, you know, like I said, it was such a like whirlwind of a day. We had stayed in a hotel that one night, and then like the next day we had to switch hotels. So we went to Pure during the day. We trained at Pure for a bit, came back, did the athletes check in. Like it was like just go, go, go. So fast forward, like, that week, it was kind of weird with my coach because we weren't really seeing eye to eye. He didn't want to carb me up because he knew I wasn't lean enough, but like I knew that if I wasn't carved up, I was gonna look flat. I don't know, it's kind of one of those things that I just wasn't trusting him. And then I had a friend in my ear kind of saying like, hey, do this, don't do this, do that, do this. So it was just like just such a weird week, but I kind of ended up peaking myself with some guidance from a friend that was there, and like I ended up eating carbs, and I think I was kind of like not really talking to him, but I did a check-in like the day before, and I thought I looked really good. I'll insert like a posing video of that. That was at Pure. So yeah, we trained at Pure, got a workout in, got some posing. I wasn't even, he told me not to train that day. And that was another thing where I was like, because in the morning he kind of said I looked bad. So he's just like, rest all day, no carbs. And I was like, fuck that. I'm stubborn ass Capricorn me was like, fuck that. I'm going to Pure. I'm going to train with all the bodybuilders, yada, yada. So yeah, I just ended up doing it. And then I like thought I looked good by that afternoon check-in. And yeah, fast forward the next morning, you know, I thought I looked pretty good. I will insert some photos of what I looked like. I did my makeup a little bit differently than I did at in Calgary at the Open, just because I like wanted it to be a bit more like, you know, like pink and vibrant. And I really, really loved my makeup. A lot of people asked me what color lips I was wearing, and honestly it was a mixture of a whole bunch of different things because I just felt like I couldn't get the right color, so I just kept like changing it up kind of thing. But I finally nailed it. I really liked my look. What else can I say about that morning? Yeah, like, you know, like typical show day, you know, I felt ready. I switched it up to the blue suit, and honestly I loved the blue suit. It was totally different vibe than the pink. Like obviously I wanted to do the whole like Barbie vibes with the pink, but on the reddish backdrop, I felt like the blue would just look a lot better. And I don't know, I just was like really feeling the blue. And I think I like put a little bit more highlights in my hair, so I was a little bit blonder. I just wanted to go with that like bolder look. And I honestly didn't change my mind until I think I was like in Toronto, and I put the blue suit on, did a check-in, and I was like, yeah, we're going with the blue suit. So really glad I did. Okay, so like fast forwarding then to the morning show, it all happened so fast that like my mom and a boyfriend missed me on stage because it was just like, it happened so freaking fast, and I felt like I got down there, and then they're like, Wellness A, we're glazing you, and I was like, oh my god, like I need to get the fuck down there. Oh yeah, just to mention too, I think I carved up on like, I had already been carved up on like 200 grams of Carb Ready, and my carb sources were rice and Chex, like gluten-free Chex. So those are two that I was using for my carb up. So by this time I was already like, yeah, like I think I was like 200 grams of carbs in. So I thought I looked pretty good for all those carbs. I didn't. Did I take a diuretic? No, I don't think I took a diuretic. No, I don't think I did. And yeah, so my initial thoughts backstage was, holy fuck, I am way smaller than most of these girls. Like they are ginormous next to me. But you know, they did our walkthrough, and then when we came out for our comparisons and like moving us around, they like were moving me in, and I was like, holy fuck. Like, oh, Tyler and Etela were like head judges, and they were in the middle. And I think like Paul was one of the judges, and you're on the outside. I don't know if Rudy, I think it was Rudy, was there too. So yeah, as soon as I walked out, I made direct eye contact with Tyler, and he looked back at me like we were holding eye contact. So that was one of the main things that I'll tell you. You need to walk out confidently on stage, because yeah, like as soon as I walked out, I like was like, I'm walking out, I'm looking right at Tyler, because he was the head judge, and like I said, we made eye contact, and then when he put us for comparisons, he moved me in, and I was like right next to the girl, the super jacked girl who won her pro card. But then I think it was when they turned me to the back because my tie-ins were again, and I wasn't lean enough. My tie-ins were not pushed out, not visible enough. They moved me to the third place. So yeah, and at that time I didn't really know because like I said, I was moved between second and third. So I was like, I don't know, and I forget which side, like because I know when you're like looking at the stage, one side second, one side's third. But in my head I was like, oh my god, I'm like, but I was so happy because honestly, like that was a class of 10 girls. So and you know, my biggest thing was like I just wanted to like prove myself from the loss I had in at the Open, and like the girl who won the Open was in Wellness 2 in the A class, and it's like I, you know, surpassed her. I was ahead of her, so I was like, you know what, this to me, that's a win for me because I'm like I felt like the overall, like I said, I was bummed about that overall, so I just wanted to do better than I had done there. But obviously, like nationals is a totally different thing. Like when it comes to nationals, totally different group of people. And like I said, there was like jacked girls there, so I was super happy for getting. I ended up with second, I ended up with third, and I was super happy with that. My big, these medals are fucking massive also from nationals. They're freaking heavy. So yeah, I was 197. There's my third place medal. I got second that in 2021. So this is my second place, but that's my little trophy little area, and medal area. But yeah, like I said, I was super, super happy with the way I placed. And I didn't buy photos just because I bought photos in the past, and I'm just kind of like, you can get all the ones you need on Muscle Insider on NPC Online. So I knew I wanted to buy the video because there was a videographer. So I will show you guys my video and the routine that I did. And the next day when I was buying that video, that was the day of the pro show, and I knew Tyler and Attila would be there. And like, part of me was just like, the hotel's small, I will see them, I will run into them. And I knew it, and I kind of was like lollygagging around, but one of the ladies let me go like backstage with where the pros kind of were. They weren't all back there yet, but I went behind I got to go behind the judges stage because that's where the videographer was. And I bought and I knew like, so Tyler was already there and he was chatting. I didn't want to like interrupt him and talk to him, but I paid for my videography. And then when I was leaving, I was like lollygagging, I was taking my time. There was a huge lineup to get into the pro show, but I took my time. And then guess who I ran into in the hallway? Attila. And she is so sweet in real life. She looks just as beautiful in real life too. And I talked to her, and she remembered me right away, and I didn't even have to like show her photos. And she pretty much said like which is weird because like she said my conditioning was good. Just work on like building my glutes and muscle maturity from the back. And she said just keep everything the same. And I asked if my upper body needed more, if I need more upper body, and she's like, my shoulders could get like a tad bit bigger, but besides that, like don't really change anything. So, and I even asked about my quads, so my like legs need to get overall bigger, and she said no. So, that was a little bit like, it was amazing. I was super happy to hear that because I'm like, I don't want to have to get huge in this division. And she was just kind of like, get a little bit more muscle maturity, sharper. So that was like really good advice, and I was super pumped about it, but it was a little bit conflicting from what I've heard from other judges or coaches. Like a lot of people have said, yeah, I needed to come in leaner, which we all knew. She didn't say that, but I knew I needed to be leaner because I think my tie-ins would have showed a lot better too if I was leaner. And I do think I just need that more developed, like I think working like, it's been like I said, it's been 10 weeks, and I've been really crushing hamstrings and like that lower glute area. So I think that's gonna be like my main focus. Obviously I'm still hitting quads twice a week, so I'm doing like a 4-day split again with 5-day, 4 lower body days, 1 upper body day, which is shoulder focused. Sometimes I'll throw in another shoulder day depending on how much time we have in the week and if I have extra time, but that's gonna be like my main focus. I still don't know what I'm doing next year. If I can, I just don't want to have to take a bunch of PEDs to like fit in this division, and like that's just not me. Like I don't want to have to like I'm not going to be the person to do a bunch of drugs. So like if I can get there with like just working out really hard and eating well, we'll see what I look like come roll around like winter next year. Like, I think if anything, I wouldn't do that long of a prep. I think I would try to keep like my weight a little bit closer to my stage weight, which my stage weight was 134. Right now I like fluctuate between like 149 to 152, so I'm kind of like in between there. Last year I got up to 159. I don't want to get up to 159 again. I would like to stay still closer to 150, like 152 cap on like those, you know, days where I'm a bit fluffier. But you know, I just want to stay within that range, because if I do prep again, I would ideally want to start a prep in like late February, so then have March, April, May. Yeah, March, April, May. I would probably want to do like a 16-week prep. Oh, I thought that was a bug on me. It was an eyelash. I would ideally want to do like a 16-week prep and not have to kill myself. So if I stay a little bit leaner this year in the off season, like last year I was not, you know, I was not careful in my off season because I had a surgery during that year and everything. So yeah, it's just this time around, we'll see what I look like come early next year, and depending what I want to do. But I think it would be the same thing. Like, I would just focus on Toronto and just do Toronto. So yeah, but you know, stay tuned. We'll see. I don't know if I'm gonna like, I probably won't be doing a lot of these, but like maybe I'll update you guys with what I'm doing for like my workouts, because my workouts have changed like a lot, and I'm really liking them. Like, I'm really focusing, like this time, like I didn't put any effort into like really focusing on that like tie-in area or like isolating my hamstrings a lot. So I think this sort of training will really help me too. But yeah, I already can tell I look a lot different. I've obviously like put on some weight back on. Like I said, I'm around 150. So we're up a good 16 pounds, 16, 17 around there pounds from like I don't even know my true stage weight, but it was around like 133, 134. So yeah, so thank you for watching. I'm sorry it took so long to get this out, but I hope you enjoyed this update and my crazy show experience. I, you know, wanted to keep going in that season, and the plan was to do Vancouver, but like at that point I was so mentally checked out that I just needed a break. So I decided not to do Vancouver. Also, competing is very expensive, and like I already had to take off so much time and put so much money into competing for like Toronto that I knew Vancouver would set me back too much to do. So that was like another reason of why I didn't do Vancouver, is because like I had a flight booked for Vancouver that was like $140. It was cheap, but when it came to like everything else, like the hotels, you know, everything else that comes along with it, like I'm just like, it would set me back a lot, and then I'd have to take another weekend off work, and already off work that was like kind of a stretch to ask for another weekend after I was off already a few weekends in a row. So yeah, you know, maybe next year, you know, maybe if I go to Toronto and don't do as well as I wanted in Toronto next year, maybe I'll do Vancouver. But it's just something that like I'll kind of go like I'll go month by month and kind of see what I look like and whatnot. But again, thank you for following along, and hope you enjoyed this update, and maybe I'll see you in the next video. Bye.